Okay, hi everybody. Welcome to Park It Theme Parks Edition. Today I am super excited. We're going to be talking all about Walt Disney World. And I have my friend with me, Nicole, who's not only just a fun and amazing person, but she's a fantastic researcher as well. She did a lot of research before she and her family went on this trip, so I have a lot of questions that I want to ask her. I feel like there's a lot of great value in asking people questions right when they get back from a trip because everything is fresh on their mind and they can just remember a lot of things that they wouldn't be able to remember weeks and weeks later. So we are going to talk about all sorts of things. We're going to talk about just Walt Disney World in general, things that she liked, attractions that her kids liked. We're going to talk a lot about FastPasses. As some of you know, the FastPass system at Disney World is different than it is at Disneyland. So we're going to kind of talk about that a little bit. And I consider Nicole to be an expert. So I'm excited to ask her about that. And also we're going to talk about food, lots of questions about food. And then at the very end, we're going to talk about do's and don'ts at Disney World, which I feel like is probably going to be one of the most valuable parts of this video. So please stick around. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and go ahead and hit the like button anytime you feel like you're getting value out of this video. So we're just going to jump right in. Hi, Nicole. I'm so glad you could be here today. So why don't you go ahead and just tell us some general information about your trip. Tell us how many people went, what time of year you went exactly so that people can have those details, and just any general information you feel like we should know.
All right. I am Nicole, and I have two kids. So it's me, my husband, and my two children. And I have a daughter who's 9 and a son he turned 5 on the trip, actually. So perfect ages, in my opinion, to take to Disney World. My 5-year-old could ride everything but one ride. So it was awesome. And we actually decided to do a surprise. So we threw him in the car and we drove. We arrived on a Sunday afternoon. We actually did Harry Potter World on Monday at Universal, but then we did Magic Kingdom on Tuesday, Hollywood Studios on Wednesday, Thursday was Animal Kingdom. Friday we took a break during the day, and then we actually paid to do Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party that evening, which is something we'd never done before, and that's at Magic Kingdom. And then Saturday we ended with Epcot. So we got a 4-day. We didn't do hoppers this time, just stuck to like 1 day per park.
1 park per day.
Correct. Okay. We actually stayed, we have a friend who lives down there, so we have a sweet connection. So we just stayed at her home. So we didn't stay on resort or anything like that.
Sounds like you really packed in a lot, and I'm super excited to ask you about the Christmas party especially. Okay, I'm so excited, you guys. This is going to be awesome. There's so much information. Okay, so I know, Nicole, that you are a big time researcher. I feel like you and I have always kind of had that in common. Yeah. And so I love it. So why don't you tell me about some of the research that you did before you went? And do you feel like there's anything you wish you would have researched more, or do you feel like you were pretty well prepared? Anything you want to tell my viewers about what they should research before they go?
Yeah, I did a ton of research. It's just in my nature. It makes me feel more confident going in. And this is the most research I've ever done on a Disney trip. And I really do believe that was like our best trip yet. So I do feel like the work paid off, which was good because there were times where I was like, laughing at myself, like, I cannot believe how many hours I have been reading Disney blogs. Like, this feels crazy. Like, I'm insane. But so I was just praying that it was paying off because my husband was like, really? Like, more research? Like, I'm like, you're going to be grateful. Like, hopefully. And it totally paid off. Like, I just felt like, because I'm the type that I have FOMO, right? Like, I'm going to be missing out. So I have to know everything, or I'm going to, and it just made the trip, like, I felt confident in what I had researched and I knew what was going on. And so I didn't feel that, like, we're missing something, So I think it helped. I just read a bunch of blogs. I mean, there's so many blogs out there. So yeah, I did mostly just read blogs and checked crowd calendars, of course. So I checked not just like with Walt Disney World, you can't just check crowd calendars for like time of year to go. You also can pin it to like which day is best to go to which park, because there's multiple kingdoms.
Ooh, can you tell us more about that? Okay, we'll get the links, but I'll include the links that Nicole sent in the description so that you guys can click on those. Were you surprised about what some of those said? What some of the
Yeah,
days
yeah.
were to go?
Yeah, the research is like even with Universal, that Monday is okay for Universal. Monday's a big day for Magic Kingdom because I think people get there on Sunday and they want to hit Magic Kingdom first, And so I waited to go to Magic Kingdom on Tuesday, and just the strategy there. And some of the blogs would contradict each other, so I actually like made a chart and I would just like mark. I know, total nerd,
I
right?
love it. No, I love it.
I know that you can feel me on this one, Jill. And so I would just I'd like, okay, well, that blog gave a yes for Magic Kingdom on Tuesday. That blog gave a no for the, and then I would just take the majority, okay, it looks like majority says Wednesday's a good day to go to Hollywood. So that works for us. We'll do that. And so I planned out that way. And you have to plan that out ahead of time because you're going to book your FastPasses ahead of time. So you really, and if you book a FastPass for the wrong park that you're not going to be in, so you really do need to do ahead of time for that, determining which parks you're going to go which day. And that really helped out.
That is a really good first step in research, I feel like, is just kind of evaluating what a lot of different people say about the same topic. You just kind of take the best of what a lot of different bloggers or YouTubers say. How was the weather? How were the crowds this time of year?
So I have only gone in, well, one time I went in June, which I will never do again. I mean, maybe Disneyland, but humidity, Florida in the summer, is horrendous. It's horrendous. So I personally would not recommend going to Disney World in the summer.
I can second that. I went in July. Yeah.
It's awful, huh? It's pretty bad.
Mm-hmm.
So I've always gone in January and February, the last few times we've gone, and it's been fantastic. But I wanted to go when it was a little bit warmer, and I also wanted to get some of the holiday stuff. So that's why we chose to go in November, and it's supposedly a little bit more crowded than the January, February season, but pretty on par. And I found that to be true. Maybe more people in the park, but our wait times seemed very comparable to when we've gone in January, February, and before in the past. Okay. So I thought that was good. The weather, however, and I don't know if this was unusual or maybe my mindset was just wrong. It was a lot hotter than I thought it would be. I thought we could wear just jeans and a t-shirt, but it was still shorts, t-shirt, and if the sun was out, I was sweating. You can't look cute in Disney World pictures. You can look cute in Disneyland pictures. Disney World, humidity, yeah. So ruined my pictures. No, just kidding. But for sure, it was still pretty warm, which I was a little, And supposedly it's not their rainy season, but we did get a few rain. A couple nights that really rained, and then 2 afternoons that just had their little sprinkle. That's not a big deal. But we came prepared with ponchos and a stroller cover, to protect my stuff, not my kid, but my stuff, right? So while we're on the rides, and so that worked out. You just kind of have to plan for that for Florida.
Okay.
I think.
That's very helpful. Can you give us an idea of what the temperatures were?
Okay, so it was mid-80s. Yeah, mid-80s all week. But with it being partly cloudy, that really felt pretty nice. But if the sun came out, it was whoa, And it was pretty humid still, I would say, which that was the most surprising to me. I thought the humidity would kind of be gone by then, but it was mid-80s, which is fine. It just, not fall weather.
That's interesting. I went there in October one time and it rained a ton. But luckily, Disney has a lot of indoor things, so that's really good. Anything that you saw that was different from the last time you were at Disney World?
Oh yeah, so Disney World, since we'd been almost 3 years ago, so it'd been a little while. Obviously, Galaxy's Edge was new, which was awesome. They only have the one Millennium Falcon ride open right now. The other one's coming, but the whole land, was awesome. Also new. That's at Hollywood Studios, by the way.
Is the new ride scheduled to open in January? Do you know?
December, I believe.
December. Oh, okay. So even sooner than Disneyland. That's good.
Unless it's been pushed back. But last I researched, back a few months ago, it was December. So.
Okay. Okay.
And then it had been new since we'd been there was Toy Story Land, also at Hollywood Studios. Okay. Which was actually, I think I liked it better than Star Wars Land. It was so cute. It was amazing. They've just done such a good job with it. All the details, you feel if you look in the background, my husband pointed this out to me. It took me a little bit to notice it. The skyline, behind the roller coaster, you see a fence. So a pretend fence, like a pretend wooden fence, like you're in Andy's backyard, you know,
Oh,
and that
that's so cute.
so cute. Like you just feel like you've plopped right there. They have the Slinky Dog roller coaster, which was actually a really fun. It's just a little kid roller coaster, but it was fun. It was really fun. They have these alien saucer. It's almost like teacups, or it's like a scrambler ride, you know, at the fair, that style, but it's the aliens. And that was new and cute. And then this Toy Story Mania, we had done that ride before. That's been there for a little while, but it just changed, you know, into this Toy Story land. So that was really cute.
Would you say that as adults and as kids overall, did you like Toy Story Land better than Galaxy's Edge? Or it sounds like you liked Toy Story Land better than Galaxy's Edge, but what about the rest of your family, like your husband and your kids?
My husband's not a huge like Star Wars crazy fan like some you know men can be, so he might not be a good sample for that. But so I would think actually me and my husband probably prefer Toy Story Land, but my kids are just so into Star Wars right now that they loved being there and experiencing that. So
Okay. Before we leave the more general information, I wanted to ask, is there anything up and coming at Disney World that you're really excited for, that you either saw signs for or you heard rumors about from employees that you want to share with us or the viewers?
yeah, Epcot is totally revamping. They actually have a display. You can go see like their model, you know, of what they're changing there at Epcot. They're renaming kind of their worlds there in the front, resectioning them off, and they're trying to throw in more. You know how they have all the countries, right?
Yes, the World Showcase. Uh-huh.
World Showcase, correct. So I guess I think they're trying to add more of like the characters in there. I believe they're doing a Remy, like Ratatouille attraction in France. They're doing a Mary Poppins attraction, which will be so awesome
So excited about that.
in the UK. So I think they're trying to pull in some more. I think they're doing a Moana experience there. So it sounds like Epcot's really going to be, you know, revamping up and pretty cool.
Okay. Well, if you're anything like me, you're already planning when you can go back.
I know. Best time to go.
You haven't even been home 3 days and you're probably thinking about
almost got that itch again.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. Thank you. Let's jump to attractions because I feel like we were just talking about Galaxy's Edge and Toy Story Land. Can you tell me maybe some of the favorite attractions at each park for both the adults and the kids?
Okay. Yeah, let's start with Magic Kingdom. So Magic Kingdom, I think across the board, adults and kids, Space Mountain and Splash Mountain are our favorites. Like these are the first, my son went when he was 2, but he obviously doesn't really remember it. So this was his first really time at Disney World. And luckily I've got kids that love roller coasters and are fearless. I was a little nervous. I wasn't sure, but he acted like he was, you know, going to be fearless. Threw him on that, and we rode Space Mountain 3 times. We rode Splash twice. Like they loved it. Those are so fun. You know, we just can't go wrong with those. So those were everyone's favorites at Magic Kingdom. Hollywood Studios, not really a ride, but my kids did the Jedi training, Temple of Trials, I think is what they call it. Do they have that at Disneyland? Do you know?
I think they do. When I went to Galaxy's Edge, I did not see it happening when I happened to be there. I didn't spend my entire day at Galaxy's Edge, so I'm sure it occurred at a time when I wasn't there. But I'm really glad you brought that up because I wanted to ask you more about that. It looked super fun. I saw some of the videos of that. Can you tell us a little bit more about that and what your kids thought about it?
It's if you have a Star Wars fan at your house, like it's a must do. It was the favorite of the trip for my kids for sure. Okay. So I read a blog on it as well. Yeah, I'll give you a link. You know, it was one of those blogs.
Yeah, definitely.
That you just had to get there early and get because it's free. It's totally free. You just have to get your kids on the list. And I think they do a lot, like maybe 12, 15 shows a day, and each show takes like 25 kids. So, I mean, that's a good amount of kids, but there's a lot of people in those parks, right? So we ran, and actually I was kind of stressed out because at Disney World, right? I get stressed out. Just like at rope drop, like if I'm there before the park opens, am I going to run to Slinky Dog line, or I'm going to have to run and sign my kids up for this? And they're very clear that your kids have to be there. You know, you can't like split up. And so anyway, but turns out we got there park opened at 9 that day. We got there 8, an hour before, because I'm crazy.
Yes.
But it paid off.
Yes, good job.
And we were like walking briskly to where they kind of keep like a rope. They let you in the park. They let you through the turnstiles and I don't know the word for that. Turnstiles. Yeah. So we get in there and you're just kind of like in the main strip and they kind of rope you off, right? Till the actual opening. So as we're going there, I see a sign. Actually, my daughter saw it. Look, Mom, that says, Jedi training this way. So they actually let you go into the park before even opening, just to the Jedi part to sign up your kids and then come back into the main area where everyone's kind of waiting for the official opening, which was a huge game changer because then I could still get to the front of the line for like rope drop, but I took care of that, before. It was awesome. I'm so glad they did that. Like
that is such a good insider tip. Make sure that you go in to sign them up because you can come back out. And I bet a lot of people don't know that.
They didn't.
Watching, take notes. That's
really cool. I was like right to it and I like saw the employee and I was like, am I running unnecessarily? She's like, yeah, kind of. Like I knew this was like the top of our list. So then you can just decide what time you want to sign up. So keep in mind your FastPasses, keep in mind your dining reservations. You know, that day has to be pretty well planned because you actually have to come back 30 minutes before you're assigned like the time of the performance.
Okay. And
you report back to a staging area where they get them in their robes and they give them lightsabers and they kind of go through like, okay, this is what's going to happen. And then you kind of walk to the stage and it's a performance that everyone can watch, and so they're on a stage in front of everyone and they get this like these Jedis come out and give them like a routine, like left, right, duck, like, and they feel so official and they're learning this routine and talking about the Force and very cool. And then out comes Darth Vader and Kylo Ren and they each get a chance to like face off to one of those characters. So my kids were with Kylo Ren and they get to do that individual routine, like one-on-one, with this villain on the stage in front of everyone. And it was so cool.
I'm super excited. I didn't realize that they got to actually fight Kylo Ren. So that might be something that people don't know either. Because I think when people think about it in their minds, they're like, oh, like a Jedi training. Maybe it's just some random person that they get a fight with. So that makes it all the more exciting. And I'm wondering, like, do kids get stage fright up there? Or were they like...
So that was something I read, like that your kid gets like drilled when you go to sign up the time, your kid's going to get asked like, can you follow instructions? And are you scared to fight somebody? They did ask them those questions, but it was really like nonchalant. Like, do you follow instructions? And I was like, the blog made it sound like you were going to drill my kids. So I was a little nervous and I definitely prepped my own children because my 5-year-old can get a little scared. So I was like, I warned him and I prepped him and there was one little girl that ran off the stage, but everyone else, was in the zone. So
hey, well, that's awesome. One more thing about Galaxy's Edge: if people only had time to do one thing, doing the Jedi training or Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run, would you say the Jedi training?
My kids liked that better, but
okay. Thank you. That's good information to know.
So that was my kid's favorite, was Jedi training.
Okay.
But at Hollywood, my favorite was split between the Slinky ride. It's such a fun little coaster. And I love the Toy Story Mania. Have you done that? Like where you shoot, it's a little different than Buzz Lightyear because there's different points you get and it's like a screen with different versions of targets. And we did that one twice. I think it's so fun. Animal Kingdom, we did next, and we probably all of us, again, love the Expedition Everest. That roller coaster is pretty fun and just different. So everyone loved that. And my personal favorite, I know people love the Lion King show. I do love the Lion King show, but the Nemo show is out of this world to me. I cry every time. I've seen it like 4 times. And I just like, it's puppeting. It's puppeting and singing. It's a musical. It's beautiful.
So the Finding Nemo is the one that you liked the best for shows.
For sure.
And Expedition Everest was your favorite attraction for both adults and kids?
Yes, kids love that. And then Epcot, surprisingly at Epcot, they have a few rides, but it's not as ride heavy of a place, right? And we were there during the Food and Wine Festival, which we've never done, which was really fun for me and Eric to get to try different, they have little carts they bring out for the countries that exist there and additional countries, and you get to like for $5 or something, like just get little entrees and try different things, and it's so fun. Really crowded, but worth it. It was so fun.
Okay.
So I guess this activity is actually only for Food and Wine Festival, but they have something similar all year round. So you pay $6 and it's like you kids get a map, and it's a Remy, which is Ratatouille, like scavenger hunt. So at each country they've hidden like the rat, and he's like holding an ingredient to make his ratatouille, and they have a map and they find him, they put a sticker on that country, you complete the scavenger hunt, you turn it back in, and you get a prize, which I was like preparing my kids, like it's probably gonna be like a sticker, you know, like, and it was a cup, like they could choose like a different cup from a kid. I thought that was pretty legit. So anyway, my kids got so into that, and it was just a fun way then to like, instead of just going around the countries and they were bored, like they loved looking for Remy, and then we could enjoy it a little bit more. And I really think that was their favorite thing that day, was the Remy scavenger hunt.
Really quick, I forgot something about Animal Kingdom. Did you enjoy Pandora? Did you do Avatar Flight of Passage there?
Oh, we did not bother with Pandora, which I actually read on your profile as like one of your favorite rides. So I'm probably breaking your heart right now.
Oh, you are breaking my heart.
I'm so sorry.
You don't have to see everything, so you kind of.
Yeah, it was just, I knew my kids had never seen I know the ride's amazing, but it's always like a 2-hour line. I couldn't get a fast pass to it. And we were tired and didn't want to get there right at opening, which is kind of what you have to do if you can't get a fast pass, or decide you're going to wait in a 2-hour line with kids, which I wasn't willing to for something they haven't seen. So we actually didn't even do Pandora. Sorry.
Well, I think that's good for people to understand, is that you really have to decide what your priorities are, because you can't do it all. So, and it's, you know, sometimes it's nice to just stick to one area of the park so that you don't get really tired going back and forth too. So that's fine. So Epcot, did you happen to do the Frozen attraction? I have never experienced that, and I was wondering if you did it and what you thought of it.
That's definitely my favorite. It's the second time I've had the opportunity to do that ride, and it's incredible. I mean, it's basic. You're just going through the story, but the graphics, like they look real. Like it looks like Elsa and Anna, like the I don't even know what it is, the robots, but they don't look like robots, right? Like they're incredible. It's a really cool ride.
Okay, so that was the Remy scavenger hunt and Frozen Ever After were probably your favorite things from Epcot.
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, all right, we're gonna jump into FastPasses because I feel like this stuff is gold, and we'll probably spend a big chunk of time talking about this. Why don't you just tell us about Magic Bands, first of all, and then we can talk about FastPasses.
So Magic Bands are free if you stay on resort. They give you them.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Because I stay on resort, it's not really worth it to me for like $15 to buy everyone a bracelet.
Yes. Okay.
If I had a season pass and went often, I could see how you do that. Like, but we don't go that often. And so to me, we just still used our plastic, like credit card ticket style. We get like, that's the kind of ticket you get. And
okay.
Are yours paper? And
yeah, so Disneyland is a paper ticket. So it's always interesting to hear the differences, because there are differences between the way they do it. Disneyland has a paper ticket, but then you use the app for all of your, like you can scan the barcode at the top of your app for all the FastPass entrances. So it sounds like you guys had a plastic card that you would use.
Correct. We had a plastic card that's our ticket into the park, and what we scan for FastPasses. So a lot of people have Magic Bands though, which is basically just a bracelet they wear on their arm that they can scan. And I think it also links to their room if they're staying on there. So it has like credit card, like you can buy things with it. Super convenient. So I get it. I just didn't want to purchase those for everyone. So I had a nice little fanny pack and just had my plastic cards and what's nice is it does matter whose card is whose when you're entering the park for a ticket, but for FastPasses it doesn't. So it's not like I would just, anyone take any card and just scan a FastPass to get in. So that, that didn't matter.
Okay.
So, so no Magic Bands for us, but FastPasses. Okay, it is all done through the My Disney Experience app. So that is something you'd want to download when you purchase your tickets. When you purchase your tickets, you also want to sync them with that app. I assume that's similar with, you type in the code or scan the barcode so that it syncs with the app and it sees how many days you're going to be in the park and all that. If you stay on resort, then I believe 60 days in advance, you can make a FastPass reservation. Unfortunately, I wasn't staying on a resort. Fortunately and unfortunately, right? I wasn't staying on a resort. And so if you're not staying on a resort, it's 30 days in advance that you can make a FastPass reservation. So, and it's all done on the app. So you make sure you link your passes. And then literally, like, you set your alarm, it's at 7 a.m., just so everyone knows, 30 days out. So set my alarm for 6:58 and I roll over. It's like, you haven't seen this time of day in years. I'm like, Disney. So I get ready but wait, actually rewind. Before you're even going to make your FastPasses, back to what we talked about, you have to by then, so 30 days out or 60 days out if you're staying at a resort, by then you have to know which days you're going to go to which parks, because you don't want to make reservations at the wrong parks, or if you're in a park hop or whatever, you have to have that plan ahead of time. And then also I'd recommend having the plan of, before you're opening that app and fighting with the rest of the world to pick a FastPass, I made a short list, like, okay, so Magic Kingdom, which by the way, so it's like 7 a.m. from the first, so Tuesday was our first day in the parks at Magic Kingdom. And I could make those Magic Kingdom reservations that day, but I couldn't like do my whole week. So it's one day at a time. So I got up at 6:58, 5 days that week. So before you go, I would recommend making a short list of what your top FastPasses would be that you'd want. And in order, you might not get your top picks, so choose some backups. And in order to decide what that list is, again, I would recommend doing some research on blogs and things like that. They can tell you the most popular rides, what FastPasses go first, things like that. And then I also am crazy, so I did some of my own research. You're able to, in the My Disney Experience app, you can look up park wait times, even if you're not in the park. And so about a month out, I started doing that. And I would look what the wait times were. If I was going, I knew at that point I was going to Hollywood Studios on Wednesday. So I started looking on Wednesdays, what time is things happening in the morning? Okay, what about in the afternoon? And that paid off huge for us, because we didn't run to Millennial Falcon first. We decided to go to Slinky first, because I had noticed the trend that Slinky consistently, I knew I couldn't get you can't get FastPasses from Millennial Falcon yet, at least. This is right now. Mm-hmm. And Slinky Dog, I knew they'd be sold out because all those resort people get to pick them before me. So yeah. I knew I wouldn't be able to get a FastPass all day for Slinky. So then if you want to ride those, you have two choices. You have to wait a long time, or you run to them at rope drop, right? Mm-hmm. But there's two of them. So I decided to run to Slinky Dog because I had seen the trend that consistently, as I had checked the wait times for a few weeks on Wednesdays, that Slinky Dog had stayed an hour-long line, like all the time. And Millennial Falcon had gone down in the like late afternoon to like 30, 40 minutes. And so it was really scary to bank on that, to be honest. But I just held on to that. So we went to Slinky. We were like the fourth one on the ride. Like we were off before 9 a.m. It was awesome. And then just kind of held out for Millennial Falcon and waited. And I was like, just hoped it went down. And sure enough, 4:30 jumped on. We waited 35 minutes for this brand new ride, And so I felt like that research had paid off, that I had watched the trends of what the rides were doing. Anyway, so it helps to make that list of FastPasses of your goals, because you're not going to get some, and which ones are longer. You don't want to waste a FastPass on a silly ride. Mm-hmm. So I had that list. So then I wake up at 7 a.m. on the first day, and I go in and I start trying to make my FastPasses, which we have a video that we'll be able to show you. So here are my tips for FastPasses. In advance, you're allowed, at Disney World, you're allowed to make 3 FastPass reservations. And that's the 30 days out or the 60 days out. And then once you get in the parks, as soon as you've used up those 3, then you can start getting one at a time, as many as you want, but just one at a time consecutively. So
your goal about that. At Disneyland, you have to wait 90 minutes from the time you book your first FastPasses at the same way. I know you get your 3 in advance, but then when you start booking them one at a time, do you have to wait 90 minutes?
Nope.
Okay.
In fact, as soon as you scan your card to get in that line, like your FastPass disappears, and in line, I'm looking for the next one. Like before I get out of line for the ride that I'm in. It's a game changer. It's a game changer.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Those first couple hours in the park are like, if you're going to be there at, rope drop, which I would recommend, those are prime times to get on rides when ride lines are already so low that it's kind of silly that you're like running to Space Mountain. You're like, I got my FastPass for 9 a.m. and the wait time is 5 minutes. Like you kind of wasted a FastPass, right? So I usually would make my FastPasses for like 10:30, 11 would be the first one, and then consecutively after that. So that's my first recommendation. Also, you want to use those morning times to get to those rides. Again, Magic Kingdom, unless you're staying at a resort and you're really lucky, you're not going to get a fast pass to the Seven Dwarf Mine. You're not going to get a fast pass to Peter Pan. Those are the two most popular. So you got to run to those, and you got to have time to do that before your actual fast passes, right, start kicking in. So anyway, start your three a little bit later, like mid-morning, right? And then try to put them as close together as you can. So like 9 to 10, start the next one if you can, 10:05, 10:10, 10:15, like back them right in a row, the three that you have. And that used to be like my fast pass game. Like, that's it, great, I'm good. This year I learned a different trick that like totally changed everything for me. I learned to modify fast passes. Let's say I get Haunted Mansion is my first fast pass, and it's from 10:50 to 11:50. Let's say we finished what we're doing in the morning and then we're ready to use our fast passes. So we go to get on Haunted Mansion at like 11:15, something like that. Well, then my next fast pass doesn't start till noon, right? I'm going to go on Jungle Cruise from noon to 1 because I have to do hour increments. Well, if I get off Haunted Mansion at 11:15, then I still have to wait till noon to use my Jungle Cruise, which, you can go on something small or whatnot. But as soon as I go in line and as soon as I scan my ticket for Haunted Mansion and I'm in the fast pass line, I pull out my phone, the app, and I click Jungle Cruise from noon to 1, and I click modify. And for some reason, Disney's algorithms, you are more likely to get a better fast pass if you modify than if you start a whole new fast pass selection. I don't know why, but that is something with their algorithms. I would literally go in to Jungle Cruise and start a new one, and it will say there are no more fast passes for the day. But if I go modify, all of a sudden it offers me options. Like,
wow.
Still weird. Yeah. So I just would click modify, and then I would try to move my Jungle Cruise because I'm now off the ride at 11:15, let's say, and my Jungle Cruise doesn't start till noon. I'm going to try to move that sucker up. And even if you click modify once, like, it might not offer it me, I'll refresh. Next time it does. And you can be as crazy as you want with that. Like, I usually did it like 3 or 4 times, and then I'm like, okay, put my phone away, enjoy my family, like, get on the ride. Like, I don't want to be too crazy, like always on my phone. That's not, but I would try a couple times refreshing, and almost every single time I could get that sucker moved up like half an hour or something.
Jungle Cruise, just so you guys know, Jungle Cruise at Disney World, I'm glad they have fast passes. They don't have fast passes for that at Disneyland. So that's just a good thing to point out. So if you can get a fast pass to that, that's great. I'm really glad that you got to go on it.
So Disney World doesn't, everything but the Millennium Falcon has fast passes, every single thing. That's interesting that they don't.
There's a lot of it. There's quite a few attractions at Disneyland that don't do fast passes, like Pirates of the Caribbean. And did you get a fast pass for Pirates of the Caribbean?
Yeah, the day of. Yeah, just like, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, interesting. So, and then my other point with that modify is you can also modify if you're not finding Jungle Cruise, let's say specifically, that can come earlier. You can, it'll say like, on the app, it'll say different times, like for the Jungle Cruise, and then it will say other experiences. And below that, you can then totally ditch Jungle Cruise and pick a different ride.
Okay.
And modify it that way. So that would throw your plan off a little bit, but I liked that. Okay, well, actually, we're right here, and we can jump. There's a fast pass available right now for that one. Let's do that quick, and we'll deal with Jungle Cruise later, Okay. So you can totally switch your attraction too, and modify earlier.
Okay, this is great. Any other tips about fast passes before we move on? Do you feel like?
Yeah, I guess in general. So that's your first 3 that you make, right? Okay. But even when you're making a new one, I would go to make one for, let's say, Tower of Terror at Hollywood Studios, and it would say no fast passes available in the day. No fast passes available left for Tower of Terror. So I would book Little Mermaid, Voyage of whatever, like some, not dumb. I like that ride, but I would just, instead I would put in something that you don't need a fast pass really for, or that it's available. I would just select that one, have it add there, and then I'd click modify. Go to modify, all of a sudden now there's a Tower of Terror available in an hour. And so then I just switched and got to a Tower of Terror. Like, this changed my game. Like, we did everything fast pass, like everything, like pretty much. There are a handful of rides you can't get fast passes if you're not staying on a resort, and it was awesome. We rode so much doing it.
This is fascinating. I wish I had known about this when I went. I wish I thought to modify it. Did you read that on a blog or?
Yeah, I read that on a blog. It was like, you really want to up your fast pass game? Learn to modify. Hollywood Studios and Epcot, they have a tiered FastPass system. So there are certain rides that are in tier 1 and then a bunch of rides in tier 2. And for your first 3 that you can get, you can only get 1 in tier 1. And those are like the big popular rides that you want FastPasses for. And then tier 2 are ones that are not as popular. And it's kind of frustrating that makes it a little harder. But so that does exist, just to keep in mind.
So that's at every park then, they have that tier system?
Nope, not Magic Kingdom. And I'm pretty sure Animal Kingdom doesn't have that. Oh, no, okay. Magic Kingdom is the only one that does not have a system. I think because they just have so many rides that they don't bother to worry about that. But the other ones just have such, only so limited rides, of big ones that they need to control how many people are coming in or whatever. Okay. Oh, I do have one more FastPass tip. Okay. So if you have a FastPass for a ride that breaks down, Splash Mountain broke down a couple times while we were there. Test Track was down almost the whole day we were at Epcot. That was kind of sad, but then by the evening it opened up and we ran over there. But so if a ride breaks down and you have a FastPass for that ride, Disney automatically on the app gives you, I don't know what they call it, I can't remember.
It's a replacement FastPass, I think, because the same thing happened to me. Yeah.
And you can use it anywhere, all the time. Actually, they're for example, in Epcot, you can't use it in Frozen. I was like, ouch. Oh. But mostly they let you use it everywhere and at any time. And so that's really nice. And especially then later, Test Track was shut down all day. We had a FastPass for it, so we used it on Soarin', right? And then later, I went and got another FastPass for Test Track because I couldn't get one for something else. And after it expired, oh, now I magically have this free one. So it's pretty nice. And when you have that free one, you can still book an additional one, right? Okay. It's like a bonus one.
It's a bonus one.
Yeah, so that's nice that they do compensate for that. And you can usually use that really to your advantage to save it for a big ride that you weren't able to get a FastPass for and still, get another one. So that's nice.
That's good. So that replacement FastPass, was that one of the 3 that you booked in advance?
No.
When it broke down?
Yes, it was. But even if you don't do them later, they'll still give you another.
It's still a bonus FastPass. Okay. Mm-hmm. Oh, this is gold. Oh, any other attractions that broke down? I wanted to ask you about that.
The Splash Mountain, which was hard because we got so lucky. We sandwiched right in between its opening. It was shut down in the morning for a while and then again in the afternoon. But Test Track was closed for most of the day on Saturday, but nothing else shut down.
It's such a fun ride, but something about the technology is just a little bit unreliable. And I feel the same way about Radiator Springs Racers. Do they have that attraction at Disney World?
They don't have Cars Land at all, so that's kind of sad.
Okay. Yeah. Let's talk about food, and then we'll do do's and don'ts after that. Did you have a dining plan of any kind? How many meals in the park did you eat? Did you ever leave the park to eat?
Okay, so we chose not to do a dining plan. Again, I think it's probably a great deal if you get a package with staying on resort and all that, but adding it separately really isn't worth it to me, in my opinion. It's so much money. And my friend who works there, she talks about how Disneyland is quality food and Disney World is quantity food. And I really think it's true. I don't think the snacks and stuff are as good at Disney World. I would recommend, we always do 1 character breakfast. So that's our one splurge, just because it's a really fun way for the kids to get to see a handful of characters, and the Mickey waffles are really yummy, and it's a buffet all you can eat, and it's usually pretty yummy, and so it's a fun experience. We usually do one of those, and we did that this year at the Tusker House at the Animal Kingdom Park, and they're in their safari gear, the Mickey and Donald, Daisy, and Goofy are there, and it was really fun.
That sounds fun. I echo Nicole, and I would say definitely do at least 1 character dining. We did a dinner at Cinderella's Castle, and it was expensive, but it was seriously, I felt like it was one of the best things that we paid for, quality-wise. So I'm glad that you guys got to do that.
I will say, if you have never been in the Be Your Guest restaurant, the Belle's Castle in Disney World, that's impossible to get reservations to, but if you can on the app or even just walk in and try to get on there, it's incredible just to even go in and get the gray stuff cupcake, you know, like if that's all you can order, just to see the castle. So we had done that before and we weren't able to get reservations, so I didn't do it this time, but I would recommend that for sure.
I have also heard the same thing about the Be Our Guest, and I actually tried to get a reservation for that last time I was at Disney World and I was unsuccessful. And I planned way in advance. If you're wanting dining experiences, you have to think ahead. With your character dining, did you book that in advance?
Yeah, and actually there wasn't that available for a long time. Like I had to keep checking, and I made some other reservations as backup. And I usually find that the week of people start, or like the week before people start dropping and actually nailing down the reservations, and that's like when things come available, and you can modify, you know, you just have to do it. I think it's 24 hours ahead or you get charged.
Okay, this is my favorite portion, the do's and don'ts. My do's and don'ts video for Disneyland has been by far the one that people have responded to the most and watched the most for some reason. And when I made that video, I thought it was so funny. It was 15 minutes long and I thought, no one's going to watch this. People like that one. So I think it's because they can get a lot of information in kind of a condensed version, short time. Yeah. So, okay, go for it. Tell us. Well,
I hope I've got them down. So I would say do buy a fanny pack. I was so glad I had a fanny pack, like just for your phone handy, you know, like wear a fanny pack. That's a big one. Good thing they're coming back, people. This is good. So do it. We just said do a character breakfast, one character breakfast. I think that's worth it. Definitely do FastPasses and in advance, and definitely modify your FastPasses. Work the modify system. Do arrive early, rope drop. It saves you for some of those big rides that are going to get really long later. Do bring a stroller. My kid turned 5 there, and I thought about not bringing a stroller, but just to carry your stuff, like it's so great. I'm so tired. Do a stroller. I don't know how long I'll be able to ride that out for, what age you should do that off, but I think strollers are good. Do a parade. Oh, we didn't talk about parades. I love Disney parades, and I think that they're worth, you know, sitting there, getting a good seat, taking your time, because they are fantastic. Like I said, Epcot had the Remy thing, but even when they don't have the Remy scavenger hunt, they call it Kid Caught, where they can get like a puzzle piece at each country and do an activity at each country. And I would say do a scavenger hunt type thing that is available there during that time at Epcot, because it makes the kids enjoy the countries so much more, and then the parents can enjoy the countries so much more. So do that at Epcot. Oh, and I believe they have some at Animal Kingdom too. They have like become an adventure, like you earn badges. So those kinds of things for those parks that don't have as much rides, that can enrich your experience. So do those. Do Dole Whips. Get all the Dole Whips you can. Disney Springs is on my do list. That is a little shopping area. It used to be called Downtown Disney in Florida. That's around the parks. There's a lot of shopping. There's like a cool Lego store that has like all these Disney things made out of Legos. It's super cool. So it's fun to do kind of your shopping there and walk around there. At Christmas time, they have trees decorated in different movie themes that were so cute. So I think Disney Springs is a fun kind of thing to do on your off day for a couple hours and walk around.
Just a little note about Disney Springs. I love Disney Springs, but Downtown Disney in Anaheim is right as you're walking towards the entrance, like the main gates of California Adventure and Disneyland. Whereas Disney Springs is not that way in Florida. Florida is a completely different animal. So if you're going to Florida for the first time and you've only ever been to Disneyland, there's lots of things you want to keep in mind. But I do love Disney Springs. Anyway,
yeah, in general, Disney World is not a convenient hopping place at all. Their parks are very far apart. There is something new. They have this Skyliner connector. We can talk about them, but they're kind of not convenient to get to. So yeah, hopping and Disney Springs is not right there or anything like that. Do Jedi training. That was on my list. If you have Star Wars fans, Jedi training was so worth it. Check your calendars when you're choosing what time of year to go and which days to go. Check the crowd calendars. Check if there's early magic hours. I didn't mention that before, where people who are staying on resort, they get to go into the park an hour earlier or stay an hour later. So you want to plan around that. If you are staying in the park, that would be an advantage. If you're not staying in the park like me, I tried to pick days where none of those parks were open on early magic hours because I want to be the first one in the park. not fighting with resort people that have already been there for an hour. So definitely, and parties. There's like when we went to a Christmas party, the park closes at 6 p.m. for everyone. Hopefully those people knew that when they bought their ticket, right? So you don't want to be caught off guard with anything like that. Check the calendars on the Disney website and like crowd calendar things on blogs. Do bring ponchos, do matching shirts. Come on, you have to do matching shirts. I should have worn my shirt. Man, matching shirts just make it more fun.
Where did you get yours? Did you get yours from Etsy or did you get
Etsy.
Okay.
Yeah, Etsy.
Etsy has such good ones.
They really do. I recommend doing a video and taking them sideways. I plan to put together a video of our trip for our kids for Christmas. This is their Christmas present. So just remember to take the videos, sideways, and just try to take a lot of those, because it'll be fun to be able to put together a video. I think do autograph books. I think that at least if your kids have never done them, my kids got really into it. In fact, we'd be waiting in line and we'd find out this character wasn't actually signing because some of them can't really sign. And my son would be like, I don't want to, then let's leave. They wanted the signatures. The autograph books I think are fun. And something else we did were thank you notes for cast members. Just printed off some quick thank you for the magic or whatever and handed them to cast members that maybe it went the extra mile for us. And I liked it mostly for my kids just because it's a place where you can get really selfish and just think about you. And I just loved that it was a chance for my kids to look outside of themselves and watch for people that are being, extra special and let's give them a thank you note. And gosh, it made some of their days because they don't get recognized like the characters do. And so that was fun. My kids liked that and it was fun. So
that's a really good idea.
Do list. My don't list is don't pay for preferred parking. That's crazy. It's so much more money. You can pay $25 more to get up front. I think that's crazy. Most of my don'ts are going to be reveal how cheap I am, but I don't think pay for preferred parking. The thing is just get there early, and then you basically have preferred parking. I would say don't do magic bands unless you get them for free or you're going to go a lot, but it's $16 a person for a magic band.
Unless you're staying on site, because I loved my magic band, but if you're not staying on site, I completely see your point.
Yeah. Don't do a pre-made itinerary, in my opinion. Have you heard some of those blogs? They give it to you. You type in what you want to do and they give it to you. I was so tempted to do one of those. Great, I'll just and then my husband was like, when you use Google Maps, you go check Waze and make sure it's right. Cause you don't trust Google Maps and you cross-check. He's like, you're not going to trust that. I'm like, shoot, he's right. I just don't, I know that they have a lot of data and everything but I personally just don't trust it totally. And what if rides break down? What if you can't get a certain fast? I wouldn't bother. I think if you do enough research, you don't need the itinerary things you pay for.
True.
And all these are because I'm so cheap. Don't do a dining plan because I think it's a waste of money. I don't know. But if you're staying on resort and it's a good package, I just notice a lot of people, I would hear them oh, we have to get another snack. I just feel it's always too much and you can't really use it enough. And
it's hard to because sometimes you just can't predict when exactly you're going to be hungry. So I don't know. It's just, I think it's better to just kind of go with the flow.
Yeah. And even with reservations, I think to get a couple, but to spend so much time sitting down and eating at Disney, your kids don't want to do that. I don't know. I think the less, not too many reservations with dining. And I actually, on my don't list is maybe the party. I kind of had a bad experience at the Christmas party, which we could talk about later. But so I don't know if those are worth it.
Okay.
But,
did you pay extra for that?
Yes. You pay so much for it.
Oh, shoot. Okay, we're going to have to talk about that. Get to your list, and then we'll jump back to the parade and the Christmas party.
Actually, that's on my list. I don't have any more don'ts.
Okay, good. That's perfect. And we're almost out of time anyway. So if you could just tell us why the Christmas party wasn't a good thing to spend money on.
So granted, I will say that obviously I could have, it rained the whole time. And so maybe if I gave it another shot, maybe. But I still think, I got there and it was we had already done Magic Kingdom earlier in the week. So I had already ridden, and because I rocked the FastPass system, we had ridden almost every ride, and you can't do FastPasses during the party. So maybe just because I'm so crazy about FastPasses, I was like, this sucks. Like, I hate this. Like, and still there's less people in the park, so things are only like 25, 30-minute wait. But to wait 30 minutes for something that I just did 2 days ago, unless it's like Space Mountain or like there's only a handful I'd want to ride 2 times in a row and wait that long. So there was that. Then you go around to each, like, there's a lot of, each of the restaurants, not restaurants, but food places, and they give you like a different cookie and a different drink. And that's really fun, like a snickerdoodle and a cider at this place, and a hot cocoa and a chocolate chip cookie at this place. And you get a cookie and a drink, and you hop around to the different places, which was fun for like a couple minutes, but then you're like, I'm kind of cookied out. The cookies weren't even that good, to be honest. Oh my gosh. And then the other advantage of a party like this is the characters. There are characters that you cannot meet other places. Like you can meet all 7 dwarfs and take pictures with them. That's really cool. Like, you know, you can meet princes where the princes never meet with the princesses. Like that's pretty cool. Like meet Flynn Rider and Rapunzel. So there's definitely that, but I guess we're not character crazy enough to wait in a 45-hour-and-a-half line to meet, you know, well, 7 Dwarfs was like 2 hours. You know, like I'm not going to have my kids don't care enough to meet Prince Charming, even in a 45-minute line, you know? And so it kind of became this thing where it's like, well, I don't want to wait in line for those rides I just did. I don't want to wait in line to meet those characters, even though that's kind of cool. I'm sick of cookies. Why did I pay for this? Like, what am I doing here? And really the bottom line is what I paid for and what I went for was a Christmas parade, a Christmas show, and a Christmas fireworks show, which all got rained out. So maybe those things would have been amazing enough that I would have walked away and been like, no, that was totally worth it. But in my opinion, that's all I really would have been getting. So they better be pretty darn awesome. You know, so
I have a question about the fireworks, because you said that was part of the show, but I'm confused because doesn't everybody get to see the fireworks, whether they paid to go to the party or not?
They have, so there was like the lighting of the castle at like 6 p.m. where Elsa turns it into ice and whatever. And then they start checking bands and they rope off different places. So if you don't have a band and are at the party, you got to get out of the park. And they start checking bands. Okay. And so then at like 11 o'clock at night, they do a special Christmas fireworks show.
Okay. Okay, before we end, tell us about the parade, because I know that was something you were really excited about. Parades.
Festival of, I wish I knew the name of it, Festival of Fantasy, I think that's what it's called. And it's just incredible. I love the dancing. They have a giant, like the Maleficent dragon from Sleeping Beauty. It's just like such cool mechanics, and it breathes fire. And I just think that the costumes of the dancers for the different things are really cool. They had almost every princess on a float, like the main ones. Rapunzel's float, like her ruffians, you know, are like swinging back and forth on this like float. Like it's just so fun. Like I just think the dancing. Yeah. I just think it's fun.
That sounds so fun. I'll try to include a link in the description for that as well. So I think I think we've covered pretty much everything. So I'll probably just end before we get cut off.
Okay.
And if you guys found value in this, I know that I did. I learned a ton, and I consider myself to be somewhat of an expert. But Nicole is definitely an expert, which is why I had her come and talk to us today. So if you found value, please like this video. Please share this video. I know that all of you know people who are planning trips to Disney World, and this is really good stuff. This is what people want to know. So like, share, comment, please subscribe to my channel. And I am so happy that we could have Nicole. Nicole, thank you so much. You are a wealth of information, and you're funny, and you make me laugh too.
It's way more fun than doing my laundry and catching up on grocery shopping. I'm happy to stay in Disney World for a while. So,
well, thank you so much, and I'm tempted. I hope you'll come back and do more interviews with me.
That'll be fun.
Not right now. We're going to give you a break. Maybe in the future, we'll let you gear up for another one. So, okay. All right. Well, thank you so much. And we will talk to you later. And I'm hoping everybody who's watching, hope I can connect with you soon. Please give me a follow on Instagram and Facebook. It's just Park It Theme Parks Edition @Love to Park It. Okay. Thank you. I'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.